Story 1. Shadows in the tree line. I live in a small countryside home, tucked deep into a patch of open land, where most nights feel like the world ends right outside my porch light. Nothing ever happens out here. No neighbors walking by. No cars cruising past. Just quiet. That night started like any other. I'd stayed home all day, had dinner early, and went upstairs around 9 p.m. to get ready for bed. I lay awake scrolling through YouTube, drifting between tired and bored, when something faint slipped through the sound of my phone. I paused the video. There was again voices. More than one. Low, hushed, trying to hide themselves. I froze. Nobody should be out there. There are no sidewalks, no trails, no shortcuts near my house. Anyone close enough for me to hear meant they walked here intentionally. I sat up and listened harder, but the wind drowned their words. I got out of bed and stepped toward the window. The voices cut off instantly, as if my footstep told them I was listening. That cold, electric dread ran up my back. They could see me. I stared out into pure blackness. No shadows, no movement, nothing but endless dark. But I felt eyes staring up at me, watching from the yard. I stepped away fast. Maybe they had wandered onto my property by accident. But why hide? Why whisper? Why walk closer to the house? I checked every window downstairs, peeking into the darkness. Nothing. Silence stretched across the property like a thick blanket I couldn't lift. 30 minutes passed before I cracked the front door open. The porch light spilled into the yard, revealing nothing but fog, grass, and the endless tree line. But the moment I stepped onto the porch, that same crushing feeling washed over me, like I had stepped into the open palm of something waiting. My instinct screamed at me to get back inside. I shut the door, locked it, and tried to shake the feeling off. Water. Bed. Calm down. Eventually, exhaustion dragged me into sleep. But a few hours later, a violent crash snapped me awake. Glass shattering. I shot out of bed, tore open the bedroom door, and found the hallway littered with shattered shards. The back hallway window, smashing completely, by a rock lying among the glass. My whole body went cold. Then the voices returned. Not whispering this time, yelling, calling to each other, commanding. Their footsteps pounded against the dirt outside, followed by massive blows hammering the front door. Each slam rattled the entire house. More windows burst under the weight of thrown objects. My fear pressed in from every direction. I locked myself in the bedroom and called 911, voice shaking so hard the words barely came out. As I spoke, the front door exploded open. Heavy boots stormed inside, laughing, running, tearing through rooms like wolves hunting. The dispatcher said officers were 5 minutes away. 5 minutes was too long. I rushed the window, the one that led out onto the sloped roof. Not meant to be used. Dangerous, but safer than staying inside. I climbed through, crawled up toward the highest point of the roof, and shut the window behind me. Seconds later, the men began slamming at my bedroom door. Then it burst open, splintering into pieces. Their footsteps circled beneath me, angry, confused. They searched the whole floor. I could hear them murmuring, moving, pacing, trying to figure out where I vanished to. They stayed inside until the sound of sirens drifted across the field. Then they fled, running straight into the tree line, swallowed by the darkness. Officers helped me down once it was safe. My home looked like it had survived a war. Broken windows, broken door, glass everywhere, but nothing stolen, which meant they hadn't come for things. They came for me. And the worst part? No tracks, no identities, no motive, no faces, just footprints leading into the forest and fading out. Story 2, the man in the costume last Halloween. I was supposed to go to a house party with a bunch of friends. But the plans collapsed at the last minute, leaving me alone in my house with nothing but snacks, a blanket, and whatever movie I decided to throw on. By the time I settled onto the couch, It was well past trick-or-treat hours. The room was dim except for the glow of the TV. The curtains were closed, like they always were at night, but a couple times I thought I saw something shift through the small gap between them. Probably my imagination. I ignored it. Then it happened again, and again, and again. Finally, after the sixth time, I got up and pulled the curtains aside. I expected nothing. Instead, I immediately saw a man standing in the street. He wore a dark costume, mask, hood, something dirty and ragged. He was wandering back and forth across the road, like a drunk trying to remember which way home was. Stumbling, turning around, wandering in zigzags. It was 1 a.m. He didn't look threatening, just lost. I closed the curtains and sat back down. 10 minutes later, a knock hit the door. I froze. Why would he come here? I walked slowly to the door and peeked through the peephole. It was him, but now he wasn't stumbling, wasn't wobbling, wasn't moving at all. He stood perfectly still, too still, staring directly at the doorknob, head slightly angled like he was waiting for me to touch it. His eyes were wide, unblinking, fixed on a handle like it was something hypnotic. Every instinct in my body screamed not to open the door. I stepped back. Seconds later, the man turned and walked away down the sidewalk, disappearing into the shadows. I tried to shake it off. Hours passed. I had some wine, played on my phone, tried to relax. Then a tapping noise echoed through the house. A slow, dull, unnatural tapping. I followed the sound down the hall until it led me into the family room. There, behind the far window, stood a silhouette, a man's shadow, tall, thin, motionless, tapping something lightly against the glass. Tap, tap, tap. My stomach twisted. It was him. I sprinted back to the living room and called 911. While I was on the phone, he kept tapping, unbothered, patient, like he knew help wouldn't arrive before he decided his next move. When I peeked again, he stopped tapping, stood still, then drifted away into the night. Police came, took notes, searched the area. Nothing. 2 weeks later, someone 3 streets over reported almost the exact same thing. A man in costume, standing outside the house, acting drunk, then turning robotic, unnaturally still, watching, waiting. Nobody knows what he wanted. But sometimes late at night, when the curtains move just slightly, I wonder if he's still out there, searching for the one house where someone finally opens the door. Story 3. The picture from behind me, I got home around 9:30 that night, threw together a quick bowl of cereal, and went straight to my gaming setup. My friends were working late, so I hopped online early and played solo while I waited for them. Halfway through a match, my phone rang. Not a contact. Unknown number. I let it ring. A minute later, it rang again, the same number. Weird. Scam callers don't usually double tap like that. I declined it. Then it rang a third time. Definitely not a robocall. I answered, but said nothing, waiting to hear who it was. Silence. Except wind. Slow, steady, real. Not static. Someone was there. After 15 seconds, I hung up. A strange coldness sat in my chest. My friends finally joined the call, and I told them what happened. They joked at first, but stopped when they realized I wasn't laughing. Once I was on voice chat with them, the call stopped. Hours passed. We played until 2 a.m., then everyone logged off. I stretched, rubbing my face, when my phone buzzed again. A text. Same number. And it contained a picture. I opened it, and my entire body froze. It was a photo of me sitting at my desk, gaming, taken from directly behind me. Only seconds ago. My stomach dropped so hard I felt dizzy. I spun around in my chair. No one there. But the window, just behind me, was slightly open. I ran to it, checked outside. Nothing. No footprints. No figure. Just darkness. I locked the window, slammed the blind shut, and stared at the picture again, hands shaking. I sent it to my friends, begging them to admit it was a joke. But this time they didn't joke. They told me to get out. Call the cops. Hide. Before calling 911, I cracked open my bedroom door and peered down the hall. The house was painfully quiet. I stepped out to check the entryway, and that's when my blood turned to ice. The front door was wide open. Somebody had come inside. I didn't think. I sprinted back to my room and slammed the door, locking it just as slow footsteps entered the hallway. They approached my room. A shadow paused under the door. Then knock. Soft. Rhythmic. The handle twitched. Another knock. Then silence. I called 911, whispering, barely breathing. Within seconds, the footsteps retreated. Whoever was slipped out of the house and vanished. When cops arrived, they found nothing. The number was a burner phone, untraceable. No fingerprints. No signs of forced entry. Just a stranger who somehow got inside my home, stood directly behind me, took a picture, and waited for me to be alone again. Even now, I sleep with the windows locked, the curtains closed, and my phone on loud. Because one picture proves something horrifying. He got in once. He can get in again.